Namaskara.
Indica Academy. Such a pleasure to meet you in person. You're a great role model for all of us.
God bless you.
And it's lovely to have your book Beyond Fear, a personal journey to Soma.
That's right.
And I wish to ask you a few questions based on the book and your personal experiences.
Shoot.
General, you have lived two very intense lives, one in the theatre of war and another in the interior world of meditation and philosophy.
That's right.
Did the battlefield push you towards spirituality, or did spirituality make it possible for you to survive the battlefield?
Do you know something? We were having a seminar on the Gita, and there was a sadhvi from Jabalpur, very respected. So she was asked, which is your favorite shloka of the Gita? And you know what she said? The first. Which is the first? Dharma-Kshetre, Kurukshetre. The field of dharma is the field of battle. You see, all other philosophies, Western philosophy especially, deals with words, definitions and this and that, and you fill tomes and tomes with empty words. But Indian spirituality is experiential. Anubhav, Anubhuti, Darshan, Shruti. Direct experience of that reality, right? And when you talk of that, you can talk all the philosophy that you want in a classroom, in an air-conditioned, seminar hall. But one instant of the battlefield, I have seen people with their intestines coming out, hit by a shell fragment, and he was so shell-shocked that he couldn't feel the pain. So he was just putting his intestines back, and the intestine, just by the way, long intestine is 6 feet, the small intestine is 21 feet. And it's very slippery, and you were putting it back. It is a sight I'll never forget. I have seen people die to my left, I have seen people die to my right. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. The questions that you ask on life and death have an existential quality on the battlefield. He's not talking theory. He could be dead the next instant. He could be dead. I have had people dying to my left, I have had people dying to my right. And that is the place you have to ask yourself. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Do I believe it? Nayanam chandanti shastrani, nayanam dahati pavaka. Do I believe it? Do I believe it? I mean, is it for me the reality? Words are different. Shabdajal. That is Shabdajal. You see, Indian spirituality deals with experiential spirituality. Spirituality, and when we talk of experience spirituality, there are 3 levels of experience. First person, second person, third person. The Buddha said, "O monks, do not believe because I have said so. Do not believe because the wise say so. Do not believe because it is written in the books. Experience for yourself and then believe." So the methodology of our consciousness studies, our spiritual sciences, Lord, Shaunak, the Rishi Shaunak, asked the Rishi, the great Rishi Angira, "Lord, which is that science, having known which all else is known?" That, replied Rishi Angira, is the science of Brahman. Having known that, all else is known. You see? So, Dharma-Kshetra, Kurukshetra.
That brings me to my second question. You describe in the book, just like you do now, violence so extreme that most civilians would struggle even to visualize it. Is the biggest gap between the soldiers and civilians not courage but understanding what violence actually is? So, when you talk about the soldier's experience, how is it different from they just graduate and they immediately, there's no work experience as such. So how does one
My batch was commissioned 1 month before the 71 war. And I got 10 days, we got 10 days leave to see Mama, Papa, and we were straight into the Assam mail, landed at Siliguri that night in action. So like I keep telling people that some of us did not get their first pay. Their parents got the first pension. They died on the very first night of service. Some lost their arms, some lost their legs. So, Yuddha ki vibhishika. War is, if you are not prepared for it psychologically, it shakes you up. The Gita deals with two disorganizing emotions. It is a handbook as relevant to combat 5,000 years ago as it is today. I have to deal with the same problems today. There are two disorganizing emotions in combat. The first is fear, and the second is guilt. Do you know, you are taught how to fire your rifle, and you are taught कि अगर उसमें round फंस जाए chamber में, फौरी इलाज क्या होता है? How to take out that stoppage. And when the enemy is attacking and you are seeing a Pathan charging at you with a gleaming bayonet in the moonlight, the hands are trembling, shaking. What was taught to you 20 times over, you forget, you can't do it because fear is a disorganizing emotion. It is destructive of combat cohesion, purposive action. It destroys a unit on the battlefield. A unit overcome by fear turns to panic and you forget fight. It is in flight. Panic spreads. You see, so the greatest disorganizing emotion on the battlefield is fear. And the Gita tells you how to overcome your fear by outlining an ideology for war fighting which says, that is not the end. I am not my body. Just like we change our clothes when they get old and worn and we take on new clothes, we, the Atman, casts away the bodies and puts on new bodies. So, when you have that kind of assurance, this is not the end, then you will fight. Otherwise, you will flee. The other thing is guilt. Guilt is also a disorganizing emotion. Guilt at killing another human being, especially if you have heard his screams, pleas for mercy, and if you can still kill that guy, you may do it, but it could shatter you for life. Could shatter you for life. So, what is the first chapter of the Gita? Arjun's guilt. अरे मैं अपने दादा को मारूंगा, अपने गुरु को मारूंगा, अपने किसको किसको मारूंगा, for what? For that bloody 2 penny kingdom? नहीं चाहिए मुझे ऐसा. This is guilt. And you have to overcome this emotion of guilt. That is why we have to have just war. My cause is just. I'm not fighting for Lobha Vijay. I'm fighting for my country. I'm fighting for a cause greater than me, a cause that transcends. So this is the yoga of death. What a soldier has to go through is the yoga of death. And let me tell you, it is the shortest path.
So you mentioned also in the book that Soma is like this Huxley believed that Soma was a psychedelic plant, and your view is very different, and you were inspired and by your guru to experience.
The 9th mandala of the Rig Veda is entirely devoted to Soma. No other mandala has got it to one god. Soma, Raja Soma. You see? And one of the biggest riddles of Indology is, what is this Soma? What is Soma? You see, was Soma a psychotropic plant? One candidate is, you see that red mushrooms at the bottom, with white spot, it is called Amanita muscaria. It is a submarine it is a mushroom that is used by the Siberian shamans. And by the way, Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, with the red and white is exactly the colors of the Amanita muscaria mushroom. Another school of thought is it is an ephedra bush found in Afghanistan, Iran, Western Tibet, Ladakh. It is called hum. It is an ephedra bush which has golden colored, this thing and all that. And the third was that it is somlata. But my own Diksha Guru, Swami Pranavananda Saraswati, what he very clearly told me, and now I'm fully convinced after experiencing Soma, right, is that it was not exogenous from outside the body. It was endogenous. It was secreted by the body itself. There are neurotransmitters in the brain which are called endorphins. Endorphins are the opiates of the brain. But because they are formed by the brain, they are non-addictive. And what do they give you? They give you a high. They give you euphoria. They give you joy. They give you serenity. They give you peace. And they also take away fear and pain on the battlefield. So, Soma was required not only by the rishi, the saint, also by the soldier. So, that is why we have the concept in Indian lore, Brahma-Kshatra, soldier, warrior saint. Warrior saint.
So,
that
are Naga sadhus
as part of that concept, कि भाई शास्त्र है और शस्त्र है. And there is a time when you have to put the shastras aside and pick up shastra to save the shastras. Otherwise they would all be burnt and finished. So that is what this book is about. That Soma, which is required by the soldier, the Soma which is required by the saint, by the rishi, by the muni,
So is there a practice to generate it? So is, such high levels
all meditation.
So is it part of training? Can it be incorporated? Like
of course it can
Kalari, Guru says.
What even here, when students come here to learn meditation, you do meditation over a period of time, like my guru used to tell me, the first feeling you get is sukh. I'm very content. I'm away from home, away from all the bloody problems. Sukh, chain, shanti, And then you start getting bliss, euphoria, ecstasy. Ananda Brahma, Satchidananda. What is the experience of pure consciousness? Sat, it is truth. Chit, I have not gone into, anesthesia. I have not gone dead. I'm very much conscious. I've never felt more conscious and alive than with meditation. And the feeling is Ananda. I had this feeling of Ananda in my Guru's ashram. Intense, indescribable. And when I asked my Guru what was that, he said that was Soma. Ritasya dhara, madhu dhara. The streams of honey, the streams of bliss, the streams of joy.
When Vivekananda went to Ramakrishna Paramahansa and he said, I also want to experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Ramakrishna Paramahansa said that your time has not come, you have to serve the country. So does that mean that he implies that the two are not compatible?
It's not that the two are not compatible, it's that I had a very similar experience. When I had that experience of Ananda, I was in the forest with my Guru, one ashram, Tapovan. And I had gone to ask, कि my parents are pressing me to get married. Should I get married or will that be an obstacle in my sadhana and etc., etc., etc.? So my Guru used to speak very little. If he spoke one word in the day, it was something, it was something worth listening to. So he said that, don't ask me. There was a Devi temple there, about 200 meters from his ashram. He said, ask the Devi. I said, but I have a Guru, you are supposed to answer. He shrugged. So 2 days later, I had that experience of Ananda. And it was a brief experience. It came, it rose and it subsided. right? And it went away. So I was in panic. Where is that gone? Kahan gaya? Where? So when my guru came out of his meditation many hours later, so I said, I had a very strange experience. He said, what kind of an experience? I said, I can't describe it. It is ecstasy. He says, good. Now do you realize how I have been saying last 10 years in this forest all alone? I don't read the newspaper, I don't watch TV, and when people like you come, I keep wishing and praying ki ye chale jaye, because so that I can keep enjoying that state of bliss. So I said, but wo aaya, wo chala gaya. He said, in the beginning it comes and goes. I said, how do I make it constant? He said, keep meditating. So those days I used to meditate for 3, 4, 5 hours, non-stop. I would just get absorbed inside. So that night was the night of Amavasya, and I decided that to hell with my army career. What do we live for? To be happy. I have never encountered greater happiness than I have encountered here in this forest. You know, it is, what do we live for? We live to be happy. So if this is happiness, why should I go back? I don't want to serve the army anymore, so I decided that. And my guru used to ask me to meditate the whole night. So in the hut I used to feel sleepy. So in the evening I took a bit of cloth, and I said, I'm going. He said, where are you going? I said, to the mandir to meditate. Why don't you meditate here? So I said, I feel sleepy here. He said, okay. He shrugged. So I went to meditate at about 6 in the evening, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Somewhere around 2 o'clock, it was a ancient Devi temple. It's 12th century AD. So there are lots of bats. And one of the bats came out and patak, it hit me on the face. So I was so startled, so I opened my eyes and I didn't, where am I? I looked around, I had been meditating for 7 hours non-stop. So my legs were jammed, frozen, so I thought I'd take a walk around, get the blood flowing in my leg, then I'd resume. So I was taking a walk around, I said, let me go have a leak. So that temple is about 60 feet above the ground level. There are stairs and there are deepa stambhas, 60 to 80 feet tall, or more or less. So, it was pitch dark. So I went down those stairs. I thought I'd just go around the corner and come back. And as I was on the last step, I couldn't even see my foot. It was that dark in the forest, no light anywhere. So I started probing around and I felt something cold. So I thought it is my chappal, and it was a snake. And tachak, it gave me one, I must have jumped 3, 4 feet. And I felt 2 fangs going in, and I felt the poison, So to cut a long story short, when I went back to the temple and there was a 40-watt bulb in the Garbha-griha, I looked at my foot, it was blue, and there were 2 fang marks and blood was coming out, and straight one word, Samp. And people die, of shock. But I suppose soldiers don't die that easy, so I said, what the bloody hell? Gaya, khatam, it's over, because I had seen cobras, not only cobras, king cobras in that forest. Yellow ones, golden. Mar gaya, it's all over. So then I thought there is no point going and crying, mar gaya, pa ka murabba. So I said, this is a temple, the Devi is here, the best place to die is here. So I said, what is the way to die? Gita mein likha hai. Sit straight, focus here, and then come out from here. So I tried to meditate, I tried to close my eyes, I felt Gera Kala Kong. And I opened my eyes in fright and I started looking at that filament of the 40-watt bulb like it was Doobte ko tinke ka sahara. To cut a long story short, you see, then after some time when I said, main mar gaya hoon, zinda hoon, I couldn't make out, And one of the thoughts that came to me was, I was 26 then, And most of my friends had gotten shot up when they were 19 or 20. So when we met, I asked them, "Kaisa laga yaar, when you felt you were dying?" All of them came back with one thing, that I wish I had seen more of life. Shadi-shuda hoke jata, so I wouldn't have felt so adhura, incomplete. And when that thought came to me when I was dying, I said, then what are you, you will come right back. The world is not dead in you. And, so I was quite surprised. I was quite surprised and shocked. So to cut a long story short, next day when my guru asked me what happened, I'd asked him the same question that I asked Guru Dev. Adi Dev, Adi Bhut, Adi Yagya, before I had gone to meditate. So next day when the snake bite and all took place and all that, then he asked me in the morning, "You came asking a question, have you got the answer?" I said, "What answer?" I had even forgotten that I had asked a question. So he said, "Tera prarabdha karma pura nahi hua hai. Sannyas you can take if your prarabdha karma is over. Gurudev's prarabdha karma is over. वो निवृत्ति मार्ग ले सकते हैं, उसके पहले आप नहीं ले सकते. He said, you have to finish your prarabdha karma, जाओ खत्म करके फिर आओ. That's number one question. He said, now you got the second question, answer to the second question. I said, what question? He said, you said Adi Dev, Adi Bhut, Adi Yagya. Adi Dev, Adi Bhut, Adi Yagya. कहता है अब तुमको Adi Bhut समझ आ गया? I said, नहीं. He said, Adi Bhut का विघ्न तेरे को जब भूत पदार्थ से विघ्न आए साधना में, उसको अधिभूत का विघ्न कहते हैं. You are going too fast for your own good, so you are stopped. किसने रोका? सांप ने रोक दिया. इसके आगे नहीं जा सकते. Adhidev is when the gods come to stop your meditation if you are going faster than you should. And Adi Yagya, when it is in your Yagya, there is an obstacle. So, like I'm saying that this is experiential. It's not theory. I'm not talking theory. I'm talking of pure experience. Like I said, experience is of three kinds. First person, second person, third person. And in this book, I have tried to blend all three. First person, what happened to me. Second person, what happened to my guru, and he told me. The Gita is second person. You are hearing Shri Krishna tell Arjun. You see? And third person is when the scientist checks what happens in meditation. He puts the EEG, ECG, and all sorts of tomography and this and that, and he records, everything onto this. That is third person, what is called empirical, objective measurement. What is the oxygen level? It goes up, goes down. What is the galvanic skin response? What kind of endorphins are secreted in your blood? What is the hormonal level? Those are objective measurements. So in this book you will find a combination of all three. I've tried to interpret first person experience in third person science. That's what my guru wanted me to do.
So just one last question. Sorry,
Please.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
So all our Mahavakyas are about us being a part of Brahman, and we have the Sanskrit word Sindhu, which is the ocean, and Bindu, which is the drop. So the Bindu is part of Sindhu. But there's an incident in the book where the opponent raises the white flag, and you ask your radio operator whether she saw the white.
Dikha ki nahi dikha? And he said, no, sir.
So this concept of what ran in your mind at that time, was it, is revenge a part of dharmic structure?
देखिए, फौज में इज्जत से बड़ी कोई चीज़ नहीं होती. When I went to one of my forwardmost posts, it was manned by the BSF. So they wear the khaki dress. And they knew it was not the main army because those days we used to wear olive green. So they picked that post for specific bashing up. And they got heavy guns, this thing, that thing, destroyed every bunker in that post, and those people, they went behind, hid behind the reverse slope of the hill. The BSF. It's not their fault because they didn't have the weapons, they were not trained. So when I became commanding officer of my unit and I had to see all my posts, the snow had fallen, I trudged up in the bloody snow. That was about 15,000 feet high, that post. So I reached there at night. In the morning I got up, I said, I want to see your post. So that BSF, inspector said, sir, iske aage nahi jate. I said, why? I can see your post till there. नहीं साहब बहुत फायर आता है. I said, don't talk poppycock. क्या बकवास करता है, फायर आता है. तू मेरा पीछे हो जा, but you keep guiding me. So when I went in that post, I found every bunker broken and not one man. बंदे कहाँ हैं? कहता साहब यहाँ कोई ठहर नहीं सकता, वो पाकिस्तानी बहुत फायर करते हैं. There's only one bunker which was manned at the extremity of the post, and that was one small little 5 feet 1 inch tall, not even 5 feet 1 inch, Havaldar Rajesh Singh from Garhwal. They're short sized, So he said, साहब आप नए CO साहब हैं? मैंने कहा हाँ. कहता साहब मैं आपसे अलग से बात करना चाहता हूँ. I said, अच्छा. तो I said, साहब आप ज़रा पीछे हटो. तो वो पीछे हट गया. I said, हाँ बेटा. So he said, साहब हमारी हिंदुस्तान की फ़ौज की यहाँ बहुत बेइज्जती हुई है और आपको इसका बदला लेना होगा. मैंने कहा हुआ क्या? इसे साहब ये कुछ 1 महीना पहले आपके आने के इन्होंने फायर किया. ये सारे के ऑयल के बैरल इन्होंने स्काईलाइन पे लगा रखे थे, सब आग जल गए और ये तब जाके छुप गए पीछे. तो मैं फायर करना चाहता था, मेरे को भी इन्होंने ऑर्डर किया कि नहीं फायर करेगा. और कहता है साहब उन्होंने खूब मारा और उसके बाद वो पाकिस्तानियों ने फायर बंद किया. वो अपने अपने बंकरों पे आए और उन्होंने भंगड़ा किया. भंगड़ा किया कि मतलब माँ का दूध पिया है तो ज़रा मार के दिखाओ. और इन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया. सब इससे ज़्यादा बेइज्जती किसी फौज की नहीं हो सकती. आपको बदला लेना है. That's what we did. We took revenge. We bashed the Pakistani 10 times as hard, destroyed every bunker on the post. They went on the reverse slope and hid. We kept firing. They raised a white flag. I said, to hell with the white flag. Destroy every living thing out there. So they destroyed everything out there, and then when they 1 घंटा फायर करते रहे, कुछ नहीं जवाब आया, तो लड़के कैसा बोर हो गए, सब मज़ा नहीं आ रहा, ये they are not shooting back, So then I said, अच्छा they are not shooting back. तो ऐसे ठीक है, सूबेदार मेजर साहब सीटी बजाओ. सब ने सीटी बजाई. इससे फायर बंद. अब अपने अपने बंकर की छत पे खड़े हो जाओ और भंगड़ा करो. पर हाफ एन आवर वी डिड भंगड़ा. उनकी हिम्मत नहीं पड़ी कि हम पे गोली चला दे. So that was the backdrop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.